Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, September 16th Board of Public Works and Safety. As with all of our meetings here, we're streaming live and also archiving on City of Madison YouTube channel. We'll proceed now with the roll call, clerk.
Sure. Carl Eaglin, sorry. Bob Courtney.
Here.
Dave Carla.
Here.
Thank you. Board, you've had an opportunity to review the minutes from the September 3rd meeting. If so, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as printed.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We'll move on to claims.
Mayor, this morning we have 30 pages of claims totaling $961,604.19. I'll make a motion that the claims be approved as submitted.
Second David's motion.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on to new business, Brian. Good morning.
Morning. Yeah, we just have one claim from the SRF project, water project. It's SRF request number L-2. It's 3 invoices from Commonwealth Engineers dated 9/29/24. The total of the 3 invoices is $3,147.58. The amount of SRF disbursement L2 will be $3,148. And that's the only one I have this month.
Good deal. Not sure there's any questions on this. I'll move we approve SRF disbursement request L2.
I'll second the mayor's motion.
Open for discussion, comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks, Brian. Chief Scudder, we have a new department-issued cell phone SOP.
Yes, sir.
Number 47. Does that mean there's 46 other ones?
46 other SOPs.
It's a lot to remember.
It's a lot. Luckily, they're all available for the officers to view at any time.
Good.
But yeah, this SOP just covers new department-issued cell phones that we already have in our possession, and we will be issuing those out as soon as we get this approved.
So overview.
It just outlines what those phones can be used for, and what the rights of the officers are in regards to possession of that phone, and also the departments or the cities.
Okay. So the policy is department-issued cell phones will be provided to all sworn Madison police personnel who, by the nature of their jobs, have a routine and continuing business need for use while conducting official business. Does that mean that other devices they may personally own are not allowed to be used in the official business for the city now, since we have the department-issued phones?
That's correct. So the way it is right now is officers a lot of time use their personal cell phones for evidence collection, taking pictures, videos, audio recordings. That's all now going to be shifted to these department-issued cell phones. That's going to make it easier, so if an officer leaves the department for any reason, we still have that evidence on that device. Also, it stops their personal device from ever being subpoenaed into court for any reason.
Okay. And the management of content downloading, I mean, is there a process for that? I mean, relative to capturing the information, is it all automatically uploaded to a cloud? How does that work?
For right now, it'll all be accessible through iCloud account. I'm hopeful that once we get evidence.com in place next year, we can upload all that to evidence.com, which is through our Axon body cams that we're budgeted for next year. So.
Okay.
Now, when you have all that information on your phone and it gets uploaded to the cloud, I mean, is there a process in there to kind of clear up the phone usage to?
Yeah, so once it's all uploaded to the cloud, and we'll probably have to pay a little bit for extra storage in the cloud, but then that phone can be cleared off.
Okay.
Yes, it doesn't have to stay on the device itself.
Okay, very good. I was thinking more of the speed, you know.
Right.
You know, how you know how it is, they all slow down. Good.
And is there, I'm assuming, I think I saw this in here. Okay, here's the prohibition. So they are prohibited from transmitting any of this material that's on their work phone. Is that correct?
Yes.
And how will you know that?
We can run periodic audits on those devices just to verify that they're not, or if we receive a complaint that they're sharing information or data from that device to their personal cell phones or to somebody else, we can.
I'm saying there may be a security setting on these devices that would prohibit that. Just,
We can check
I think
into
that's I'm sure it's not gonna happen, but I think that's an important thing relative to securing privacy of the information that's being collected, the confidential nature of it.
Will the phones be under face recognition or passcode?
No, passcode only, and we're gonna set the passcodes before we hand them out to the officers, and they're not, by SOP, not allowed to change those passcodes without written permission.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay. And this eliminates a policy of providing a stipend to the officers for the current use of their personal phones?
That's correct, yes.
Thanks for bringing this to us.
Yep.
And constantly updating our policies and procedures. I don't have any other questions. I'll move that we approve SOP 47 as per recommended by Chief Scudder.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Chief, thank you. All right, next up, we have a joint use and maintenance agreement with NDOT. I'll just give a little preview before Deputy Mayor McGee gets there, which is the fact that when we're doing work in their right-of-way, like we did with Sunrise Crossing, we've entered into an identical agreement. And this is for the work we're doing in their right-of-way at the gateway. Turn it over to the Deputy Mayor.
Yes, so he just gave my introduction. So you have a joint use and maintenance agreement specific to the corner where the art installation is going to go. That is NDOT's right-of-way there. So they have given us the permission to put the art in. The base for that was part of the bridge agreement when they built the bridge approach. It was always meant for an art piece there. So, but we still had to ask for a permit to go ahead and move forward with that. This agreement just lays out that the cost of the art and the maintenance ongoing for that will be on us and not NDOT.
So if you've seen renderings, we'll have the sculpture. There's also some seating area there. And that's the area we're gonna maintain, rather than NDOT maintaining that area for us.
Yes.
It's a lengthy agreement, but is the standard NDOT agreement for the joint use and maintenance agreement, and essentially look at this as they're giving us permission to install this art feature as part of our gateway redevelopment on their property.
And this is the only one that we're gonna have, just the one on First Street?
Yes. As far as I know.
We've entered into the one up at Sunrise Crossing, because we removed fence and installed a Welcome to Madison wall up there, so we're maintaining that corner, and this is the second one. Not sure if we have any other joint use and maintenance agreements. There may be something with regard to the road transfer for former Highway 56, but anyway, that's what this one is for the gateway. Any other questions or comments?
Mindy, this question's not related to this agreement, but that area on the bridge approach, the right-of-ways, does the city maintain the grass mowing, or does the state do that?
We do. I believe it's the state's property to do it, but I think they only do it a couple of times a year.
Yeah,
And so we go ahead and do it to maintain the look of it and make sure it's
We're not
well cared
obligated
for.
to do it. They've given us permission to do it because they're only doing mowing in their right-of-way a couple times a year. If you look all across the city, particularly like Hanging Rock Hill or 62, there's some areas that, they struggle getting here regularly. The gateway's an important one, so when we have the resources and it needs cared for, we do it.
I make a motion, we approve the joint use maintenance agreement with the NDOT, the city of Madison.
I'll second Carl's motion.
Any additional discussion or comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Moving on to PACE Finals, Nicole.
Good morning. I have 3 PACE finals for you this morning. He gets the PowerPoint up and going. The first final is for 209 East First Street. This rehabilitation grant redid this vinyl sided house. And you can go to the next slide. With LP Smart siding and paint. It looks great, and she's asking for the disbursement of her full amount of $7,500.
Wow, looks good.
The second one is for 407 West Second Street, another rehabilitation grant. This one included windows, siding, and paint. You can see it there. They just had the top of the window covered because they were finishing painting.
It's got a, is it
Yeah,
a copper?
Yes, yes, so they didn't want to get any paint
That
on
looks
that.
beautiful.
So it is completed according to their PACE grant. You'll see in the photo they're missing some lights, but that was outside of PACE, and I believe they may have installed them between these pictures and now. But they're asking for the full disbursement of $7,500. And then the last final is a dilapidated structure grant, 523, 525 West Street. This duplex work included tuck pointing, windows, doors, and some structural framing and joist work on the inside. And you can see that completed project. They're still doing some work outside of PACE, finishing up wood cabinets and that kind of thing, but they have completed their PACE grant. And since they've received a midpoint, they're asking for the disbursement of $12,500.
That property, really, along with the other investments made here on West Street, and then combined with our investment on West Street and the new bridge going down there, is really transforming that corridor. Very proud of that. Those had sat, deteriorating for probably about 10 years or longer. I'm not sure when they were last occupied, but it was a long time ago. All of those properties that you've just shown us really have transformed the exterior facades of those structures and the neighborhood. So I'll move that we approve all 3 finals for 209 East First, 407 West Second, and 523 and 525 West Street.
I'll second the mayor's motion.
Any additional discussion? Comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Right, we have next, under unfinished business, 2 PACE applications. I'd like to move that we.
One PACE and one Paul Brown.
Yes, PACE Paul Brune. It says here, PACE Paul Brune grant application and PACE funding request. I'd like to move that we take those off the table, bring them back on the agenda for discussion.
I'll second your motion.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, we're back on the table.
You want to start with Jefferson Street?
Let's start with Jefferson Street,
Okay.
yes.
This was a PACE application made by Madison Christian Health and Development Services for 524 Jefferson Street, dilapidated structure grant. You can see the pictures there. And the applicant is here if you have questions.
So, yes, I know that, good morning, how are you? I know that when we talked about this before, our building inspectors went there, and I believe you've corrected all the unsafe elements of it, so thank you for doing that. Where are we now with regard to the application since so much time has passed? Good morning.
Good morning. Well, I guess I have to back up to the last time I was here,
Okay.
because I thought I wouldn't have to be here again.
Okay.
So my understanding was the PACE grant was funded or awarded. I think you called it allocated. The funds were allocated. And at that time, it was understood that when you get the PACE grants, with what you have on your application, you need to do all of the work on that application. So that's why we tabled it. It was like, well, hold on, I need to sort out the funding. And And so in the interim, I was told by you to get with Nicole and, their department, which we did. And what they instructed me to do was to secure the building. So we secured the building and sent the pictures and made sure everything that we proposed to do in our meeting was done to secure the building. So when the PACE grant was tabled, I was told by a couple of people in the public that we remained on like we are today. I guess each month, this has remained it as unfinished business each month. So I talked to the planning office, was like, okay, we're not getting ready to do anything else with this building right now. We have decided to work on one building at a time since you have to do all the funding when you get the PACE, right? So working on one building at a time, which of course our focus is totally on 705 Walnut Street. So I asked planning, so what do we do now? Do I wait a year? I said, how long do I wait? How long do I have that this is on the table? And I was said, up to a year, let us know. So that's why I haven't communicated anything all these months, not understanding we stayed on the agenda for unfinished business. So I got an email about, well, can we utilize the allocated funding for 524 for other properties? I was like, sure, yeah, we're not getting ready to do anything. I thought what I understood was those funds that were allocated for 524 could be utilized elsewhere. So I was like, utilize them elsewhere until we're ready. Then I got an email saying, well, they're getting ready to make a decision, so that's why I'm here today. I'm like, a decision on what? I didn't know a decision needed to be made. So I'm kind of in the cloudy, unclear about where we are. I don't want to miss the at some point the PACE.
Yeah.
So I don't know what decision is supposed to be made today. I just want to have an understanding of where we are.
I'm glad you're here, and we can add some clarity, and we can also ask you some questions.
Sure.
Because I believe when it was here, back in the spring, I believe when it was maybe early to late spring, there was some concern about actually approving the PACE grant. It was recommended by the PACE committee. All those recommendations come to the Board of Public Works and Safety for approval of the actual funds. There was some concern there because the building was unsafe, and I think and there was also, I believe, a zoning if I'm recalling correctly, weren't you going through a zoning application too at the Board of Zoning Appeals for
Yeah, I
the
pulled
intended use?
the application for zoning because it kept coming up. You have to do one or the other. What are you going to be zoned for? Well, I'm like, well, what are we going to be approved for? Well, what are you getting the building for? Well, then it depends on what are you getting money for. It depends on what you're getting the building for. So it's like,
It seemed like there was some deal things still to figure out as to what you just outlined, which is, well, exactly what is it going to be used for, and what then is the work going to have to be done to the property. But the most important thing at that time was abating the unsafe elements of the building, which I believe you did immediately, so I appreciate you doing that. And then from our perspective, it just kind of became dormant. It didn't seem like you were moving forward with the restoration of that building. You were focusing on 705, and what we're trying to do is deploy the PACE funds as quickly as possible so that money can get invested.
Right.
But for our perspective, it seemed like it became a dormant application that we left on the agenda, and that's why as we're heading into the fourth quarter, and all of the PACE awards for the year are over with until we get to January, and we replenish that with our funding sources. I think our intention or expectation was we were just going to kind of consider this a withdrawn application.
Okay.
And then when you move your attention back to 524, you just go through the process again, using your existing application or amended application, and go through the process in 2025 if that's the year in which you end up doing that.
Okay, that's what I needed to know.
Okay.
What was the decision being made? Because I could have withdrawn it when we
Yeah.
made that decision
Right.
months ago.
Right.
Knowing that we weren't gonna do anything in 2024.
Yeah.
So I just,
So that's what we were gonna do today, is just
Yeah.
bring it off the agenda.
Yeah.
Consider it a withdrawn application, and then just work with planning in 2025 or whenever you actually firm up the plans for,
Okay.
for that property.
perfect.
All right.
Okay, did you have any other questions for me?
Well, give us an update on 705.
Well, we're working particularly on the facade, as you know, and as you all have requested, but I wanted to make sure we had the funds to do the masonry and not just do the paint and the other stuff. So that's what we're doing, is making sure the masonry is done, making sure the building is done correctly. And the holdup now is me deciding on the colors, which, not just me, I
Yeah.
had to go through a whole committee of people and even some people in the public, what the colors would look like. It's not gonna look like what I wanted it to look like, 'cause I didn't get the final say. But, they're starting painting this week.
Starting painting this week.
Yeah,
That's gonna
yeah.
change.
They were just waiting
the side of that.
on me
Okay.
and gating where that gate is, putting a new tall gate there and, getting the roof covered.
Okay. Well, thank you.
And we're working first on the cultural center and all the interiors.
And is that,
That's
I think
first.
you've already, did you go through zoning for conditional use on that? That's
Right.
already been approved, hasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for the investment you're making, and we'll keep attacking, issues all across the city as we've done.
Yeah, we got plenty of them.
There are. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
See ya. Board, with that, then I believe the recommendation is to just remove that request, and consider it withdrawn from the agenda. So I move that we consider the PACE funding request 524 Jefferson Street withdrawn.
I'll second your motion.
Any discussion? Comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now we'll move on to the PACE Paul Brune grant application for 408 East Fourth Street.
Yes, this is our second, application for the Paul Brune, grant. You said the address, 408 East Fourth Street. This application includes, removal of the aluminum siding to restore the original, if it's in a good condition underneath, or use LP Smart siding if, National Park Service will allow us. Restore the original windows and repair the chimney. Of course, this request also has to be reviewed by National Park Service, after your approval, and the max award would be $20,000.
Okay, so work will include removal of the aluminum siding, restoration of original wood siding, or addition of wood or LP Smart siding, the restoration of the original windows, and repair of the chimney.
Yes.
That's gonna look really nice.
Up to 20,000, so we're gonna see how much we can do of that, up to 20,000.
Well, so we're also approving a scope of work.
Yes, yeah,
So,
but it will be up to the max of 20,000
'Cause-
unless she can cover anything outside of that.
is it such that, hypothetically, just say the chimney and the windows was $20,000. I mean, for me, the most important element of this house is removing the siding and replacing or repairing the lap siding or putting on the LP Smart siding.
So the way this process works, since it's federal funds, is we have to get bids from contractors for all the work we're doing. And then once we get those bids, we're gonna go through them and, firm up the scope of work based on what we can pay for.
Okay. Just to duly noted that the siding's a really important element of, in my opinion, this grant
Noted.
approval.
Agree.
And so give us well, let's go ahead and finish this and I'll ask you a couple questions about
Sure.
the Paul Brune grant program. So I'll move that we approve, the Paul Brune grant application for 408 East Fourth Street. I'm gonna ask, Board Member Eaglin to, abstain. Do I have a second?
I'll second your motion.
Okay, any discussion? Other than what we've just had with regard to the importance of the siding? Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. On this program, you want to give us an overview of the first phase, because I think that the couple of years' worth of work that has gone into this program has not produced a whole lot of interest
Yeah.
or qualified candidates. So maybe give us an overview of that.
Sure.
And again, how much was it 250?
So we got 325,000, from National Park Service. We opened first rounds and received 5 applications. Of those, 2 were, sent on to you from, from that committee. 1 had to go also to the state, for review because it was a non-contributing building that we were trying to make
So when
contributing.
you say the state, are we talking about the SHPO?
Yes, the
Okay.
the Historic Preservation Office at the state level.
Okay.
They denied our request, so that, ended that application. So this is the only application we have left. It is on a contributing building, so it doesn't have to go through that, process, it just has to go straight to National Park Service. And, so that was the end of the first round. We're currently accepting applications, for a second round. The deadline is September 30th, and then we'll review those. Already have a handful of applications, which has been good.
Good.
But yeah, the program hasn't gotten as much interest as we anticipated.
Which is too bad because it is, I mean, we viewed it initially as a homeowner occupied PACE program that had its own allocation of dollars and didn't require a match.
Correct.
So we felt that in our historic district, there would be substantial number of applications, and that just hasn't materialized. So, and this program has to be closed out by when?
Our current deadline is September of 2025. However, we can ask for an extension,
Okay.
which I would anticipate us doing.
Okay.
Nicole, when applicants come in to inquire about a PACE grant, or maybe some of those applicants referred to
Yes.
this
Yes,
as a
we're-
possibility?
We're checking that because it's income limited, and then also the contributing building versus non-contributing, so we are checking that.
It's a great resource if we can get people qualified and also manage through it, because it also takes a lot more oversight and involvement. Now you're talking about a state and a federal agency that's involved in, you know, awarding a $20,000 grant, and then you have to go through a bidding process for the contractors, which they also approve.
Correct, yes.
So I just want to say, for a lot of people in the community that said they really, really wanted this, and we did it, it's gotten very lackluster, you know, attention. So maybe we need to make sure we're advertising it really good and promoting it, and
That's us.
and here's the other thing too, is that as you're working with Dewey and Brian on unsafe structures, perhaps there are some properties we can identify as good candidates.
We, as the city, can't do that, but if others in the community would like to reach out to those people and bring them in, we can't solicit applications, is the problem with the
Oh, we
federal
can't?
funds. But others on our behalf, without us knowing, could do that. So if anyone, in the public knows of somebody who may be eligible or needs work, they're not sure, just send them to our office.
Okay.
Maybe we could use our social media.
We've put
Platform
it out,
in order
yeah,
to-
we've put it out on social, we sent it to all the press, but we could probably do another shout out.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for continuing to work hard on it, because it's important, right, for the restoration, preservation of our properties that are contributing here in our historic district. It's important to continue to follow through on this, and we've been committed to getting all the dollars deployed.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry, Terry, if you wouldn't mind coming up to the podium. We'll capture you with everybody across the city.
Okay, it's homeowner occupied. Is that what?
It's rented, it's based on the income of the property owner, it doesn't necessarily have to be owner occupied.
It's based on the income of the homeowner, but
Of
it's,
the property owner.
can they do the Braun and the PACE?
We have not.
I don't have any objections to
we
that.
We haven't had anyone
Of
do that
stacking.
yet.
Okay, okay, that was my
Yeah,
question.
unless there's I don't have any issue with, I mean, capital stacking is how you do some of these harder projects.
Right, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to mayor's comments, I'll be brief. I just want to mention that the DG Market is going through their soft opening stage. We will have a ribbon cutting for the new market, the long-awaited new market, on Wednesday at 11:30. We do have a candidate that we're making an offer to for our new position as Director of Streets, Facilities, and Solid Waste. We have a very busy fall lineup of tons of things to do. Hopefully, people around town enjoyed this past week and weekend. It was phenomenal. And then we have a council meeting tomorrow, but also a special announcement at 5 p.m. here in City Council chambers, so invite the community to attend that. Well, lots of exciting stuff happening all across town. I'll turn it over to my fellow board members. Do they have any other remarks to make? If otherwise, we'll go on to
I'd
the agenda.
just like to report, last meeting, we had a request for signage on Presbyterian Avenue, heading east to Mill Street, where there's a curve in the road. And I'd just like to report that the signage has been put in place,
Nice.
so quick action.
There's no
Street Department,
better
thank
form
you.
of government than your local government. We're closest to the people. Well, that's great.
Yep. Chautauqua will be here before our next meeting, so
We have the rodeo Friday, Saturday. Chautauqua, the air show,
5 to the 5.
5 to the 5. The DG opening,
and West-
Park, Ohio River Legacy Park dedication.
West Street's closed, so.
New bridge going in at the foot of Michigan Hill. I think that people have gotten around that, and new sidewalks being installed on Clifty Drive. So it's been a pretty busy.
The O'Banion home down on Fifth Street, it looks like they're putting a foundation under that building.
Yes, it's been purchased, and now after about what seems to be a 20-year hold, it's now being restored.
Yeah, I
So
saw that. Looked good.
appreciate the owner of that, making sizable investment there. So tremendous amount of investment happening all across the city. Move on. Anything else, guys?
No.
Clerk? Anything? Okay. Any public comment? Anybody here would like to address the Board of Public Works and Safety, please come to the podium and make your statement. Chief, anything else from you? Tony or Brian, anything from you? Next meeting will be Monday, October the 7th.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
second that motion.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks all.
Everything is signed.
Good job. Man, all kinds of great stuff happening.